कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में इतना सा फर्क है, एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में ये अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानपुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
A very good afternoon to each and everyone who has joined us today for our Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series. Franchiseindia is Asia's largest integrated franchise solution company since 1999, and we has absolute authority on franchising, licensing, retailing, and real estate. We have helped thousands of investors in selecting the right business opportunity while assisting and helping number of organizations internationally and domestically to expand their business with our 80+ offices. Through our dynamic media and service platform, we have catered to investors across all industries like F&B, education, retail, fashion, health, etc. I truly claim that no one sells more business than us because we have helped thousands of investors in taking the conscious and right decision of selecting the right business for themselves. With this introduction, I invite and welcome management team of Franchiseindia, Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am and Venus. Today during the presentation and the webinar, they'll be talking about the industry. They'll be sharing their insights with each one of us so that we take a conscious decision. The brand which we are representing you today is FRE Fitness Gym. That's the brand we are representing for you, and we welcome and invite Mr. Nad and Rish to talk about the brand. But before we invite them formally to talk about the brand, I would like to invite Sonia ma'am to talk about the great initiative which we have taken for all our investors under Investor Advantage program, since we are the investor-centric company. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am, for joining in. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ashna, and I welcome all our friends who've joined today and panel members from the company FRE Fitness. And before I formally invite and also request Venus to share a brief introduction, I will also spend maybe a minute on the IEA opportunity. In fact, we just concluded with the webinar a minute back before we started with this BOC, and this is the Investor Advantage program that we bring to our every investor who's looking at buying a business or thinking of buying a business for the first time, or perhaps wanting to diversify their existing investments. They can work with us, and through our teams at Franchiseindia, we work and guide every investor in helping them to take a right decision of buying a business, because we understand, through our platforms, mediums, one is exposed to a lot of information, business models, and many opportunities which are presented every day to many investors. And every opportunity, I would say, we work with few thousand companies, and every opportunity is a great opportunity. Every brand is good in its own right, but every investor must understand what is his own fitment of buying a business and the right fitment of buying a business. So he needs to evaluate that, and typically on 5 assessment tools which Franchiseindia team advisors take into consideration when we guide you in this, which includes your own self-evaluation, which includes your traits like your business skills, your experience, knowledge, and we help you draw a personal financial roadmap. Second, we also work with you in industry assessment. Third is market assessment, where you want to open the particular brand. Fourth, our teams also work with you in also drawing a competitive landscape or giving you insights on the competition, both at the national and the regional level. And lastly, we work with you on doing a brand assessment. And all these assessments are, with the reason that we all want to work with every investor to make a responsible choice of buying a business. So in case you're keen to explore, evaluate, you can reach on the hotline number, and we can all teams at Franchiseindia, including the management and also our independent franchise consultants present in about 85 cities, will block our time to help you through this. And in fact, we just finished with the webinar and we had about 20 people already looking to block these sessions. So in case you can send and you're looking to block these, you can send an email or send a WhatsApp. Our teams will reach out to you and block the same. And before I request Venus, I also see Mr. Gaurav Mare, who is the chairman of Franchiseindia Group, to formally also welcome our panel members for the day, and also share his perspective overall on the opportunity and the program.
Thank you, Sonia, and welcome, friends, and welcome to another edition. This is a special edition we're doing with Fran Global. Fran Global is our international arm, which looks after the market entry. We bring in some globally recognized brands to enter Indian market through area or a master franchise. Now, when you buy a franchise, that's all right. But if you want to buy an area or a master, it is a very, very long-term plan. You should look at a 10-year to 20-year horizon to build a large size business. Master franchise and area franchise is not for everyone. It is only for companies who have larger bandwidth, also are committed to that building of a right network, building of not only their right prototype and successful business model, but also to go and commit yourself on the success for your sub-franchisees, which would come in the market and so on and so forth. So today we have special guests with us, and I would like to invite Venus, who's the CEO for Fran Global. She's a specialist on market entry, work with seasoned entrepreneurs, family offices, corporates, when they're looking to diversify and look at some international opportunities. We have a large bouquet of opportunities which we have handpicked, which are right for Indian market. So we have one such opportunity to be presented today, but I'll take this, I'll pass it on to Venus to take that opportunity to really introduce our guest today, and also a little bit about the opportunity itself. Over to you, Venus.
Thank you, Gaurav, Sonia, Archana, and of course, all the Franchiseindia team. So as Gaurav mentioned, I'm Venus Pirak, and on behalf of Fran Global, I want to welcome all of you who have joined us on this platform on Facebook Live, and really wish and hope that all of you are well and staying safe. So Fran Global today is very excited to share for the very first time an exciting opportunity in the fitness space called Fire Fitness. Now, Fire Fitness is part of Evolution Wellness. Evolution Wellness, we know, has a diversified portfolio. It's one of the largest fitness management company in Asia Pacific. It has a diversified portfolio of brands from the fitness to the wellness sector, including brands like Fitness First and Celebrity Fitness, among many others. And today we are joined by Rich Houston, who is the founder as well as the sales director with Evolution Wellness and Fire Fitness, and also Ned Mayen, who is the director of growth and innovation. So welcome both of you, Rich and Ned. I hope you're doing well.
We're doing very well. Thanks, Venus. Thanks very much to the team at Fran for having us here today, Fran Global.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Venus. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to be here. I think before we get started, we'd like to extend our sympathies to any of you that have been affected by the pandemic. We here in Malaysia have just been plunged into a new lockdown. So we feel the pain, not as severe as what you're going through there right now, but let's hope you find a way to navigate through quickly and safely, and that you're all remaining safe in your homes. So today, it's our pleasure to introduce you to one of our brands. As Venus says, we are a large group. We have operations in 6 countries in Southeast Asia. Those 6 countries include Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines, and Thailand. We operate brands including Fitness First, Celebrity Fitness. We have Chi Fitness here in Malaysia, and our 2 most exciting brands are the ones that we have entered into the licensing domain with, that being at either end of the fitness industry market. So one in the budget space of the gym business, that's our high value, low price concept called GoFit. And the other is at the high end, the boutique premium experience, much more personal, hands-on type service, which is Fire Fitness. And I'm extremely fortunate and honored to be able to introduce to you one of the co-founders of Fire Fitness, my partner in crime, Rich Hudson. Over to you, Rich.
Thank you very much, Nad. So I guess I get to take it away from here. I get to do all the hard work today. Hey, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. It looks like we've got quite a few people on here today, so I'm a bit overwhelmed. And I always like to start this off with my own virtual joke. Is they always tell you that when you present in front of a very large audience, they say to you, the thing that you should do is imagine that everyone in the crowd is naked. So actually today, that could be true. Many of you may be sitting at home with maybe your pants or your shirt's not on watching this today. So that's going to help me get through this with a smile on my face as well. But in all seriousness, I'd like to first of all echo Ad's sentiments. We understand the challenges you're going for, and our heartfelt sympathy for anyone that's been affected by COVID. I can say we will get through this very strong, and ultimately today, hopefully you'll see an opportunity that you see that is going to get you excited when we get to the other end of this, and something that might be able to get you rolling in the right direction. So what I'm going to do today, guys, I'm going to present to you the way I do. I present with passion about what the brand is, and why I think it's such a great opportunity for you there in India. That's the only way I know how to do things. And ultimately, otherwise, it's going to look like something you've probably seen many times before. So I'm going to come through with a lot of passion today, hopefully not overwhelm you with that. But first of all, before we get started, I'd love to share with you guys one of our corporate videos, just to give you a little bit of a taste and flair of what we're all about. So I'll do that now. All right, I don't know about you guys, but I still get the goosebumps on my arms when I see that video. And I've seen it many, many times. So it hopefully gives you a little bit of a taste of what we're about. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to our brochure here and just take you through a journey of what Fire is about and some of the things that make us key or different from a lot of our competitors out there. And at the end of that, I'm going to hand it over to my partner, Nat, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the costs. And at least at the end, hopefully we're going to have some time for some questions, everybody. So I better get started and stop talking. Start talking more about the business at least. So I think ultimately my partners and I, when we started this in 2015, we saw a real niche in the marketplace. We saw a tremendous opportunity. At that time, there was really just big box fitness companies around. And when we say big box, maybe a lot of you aren't familiar with the sectors, but just very quickly, I want to talk about what those sectors are. You'll have the big box or the middle, and within that middle sector, you'll have big boxes like Gold's Gym and other big competitors where they have all the service offerings. Where we're talking at today, or we're coming at you today, is in the boutique sector. So we sit above that. The opportunity, or sorry, the experience is a little bit more unique, a little bit more personalized. It's a class structure around it. And so ultimately, I think you're just getting a much more enjoyable experience, I would say, in my experience in this time in fitness versus when you're heading into the big boxes. So when we looked at this unique opportunity, we really thought, you know, we did want to change the world. We wanted to show people that fitness could be what they are experiencing now. We believed, you know, that through having great trainers, a great community, we could really be different from what everybody else was doing in the community. And we wanted to find a way to give people confidence, to give them results. We saw in a lot of fitness operators that people weren't getting the results that they wanted and needed to be successful. So that's where we saw a great opportunity for ourselves. We realized that to be able to do that, we could do it with great trainers, and we could smash that premium sector of the market. And ultimately we did. We were incredibly successful here in Malaysia. We were the very first boutique offering, and our club opened with an absolute bang. Sorry, whoops. So where are we now? Ultimately, at a glance, just to give you some insight as where the business sits right now, we currently have 4 stations. We call them stations, fire stations. We have 6 studio types. We have 14 signature programs. I'll run through some of those with you guys later. We have well over 4,000 classes a year. In fact, we have more than that, and 60,000 fan experiences. It looks like a lot, and it actually is. Likes to do that to me. So a little bit of our growth and what's happened over the last few years from us. I'm going to back this slide up just a little bit more, because if we say we started in 2015, so we were operating for, well, by the time we opened our club 2016, we were operating for roughly 3 years before we were acquired by Evolution Wellness at the time. Now, we had opportunity to look at different partners during this time, but we picked Evolution Wellness because ultimately they were the best partner for us. They were the biggest in Asia, encompassing, we're involved in 6 different countries across Asia, 170 clubs, a huge network, and a great support system. And we believe that Evolution Wellness was the group, and was the group of people that we knew that could take us as far as we needed to go to really take this brand to where it should go. We opened our next brand, or our next club, in 2019, our 3rd fire station, and opened up number 4 in March. We then came out with one of our new programs. It was called BARRE, and some of you may or may not be familiar with BARRE. I'm going to go into what the classes are and what the different classes have evolved to later on in the slide. We then moved to our delivery platform. This was basically to assist the trainers and to help them give a phenomenal experience in the club. This is really important for you guys, because what we've done is curated about 3,000 videos of workouts and exercises, which is really important, because when you're in the clubs and putting your workouts together, you're going to have access to these exercises, and these are going to continue to evolve. So it makes it very easy for you to be able to drag and drop these exercises in and build your programs, which is really fantastic. We then, in April 2020, we launched our online workout, obviously with COVID coming in, with tremendous success. and our rockstar trainers would be able to beam straight into your living rooms. Incredibly exciting for us. And ultimately now, as Nad said before, we are in lockdown. So we are having, I don't know the take-up rates right now, Nad. I think you said we had a huge explosion yesterday of people that actually came back online again with us.
So we had, yeah, so we had just 97 new enrollees for Virtual Studio just yesterday. So in total, since we locked down, which has been just about a week now, we've achieved 600 new sales just for virtual, and that's in a week. So the program is very, very popular. Sorry, Rich, please go on.
Mate, jump in where you can. That's fantastic. So that just gives you a little insight of where virtual is headed. And if you're going to be in this game in today's day and age, you really have to have a strong virtual offering. So that enables you to service people on the bricks and mortar side, which is never going to go away. But ultimately, it allows people to go home and to stay in touch with Fire and with their favorite trainers. And we're seeing a huge pickup on that. We recently launched our newest program, which is called Revolution. I'm going to take you guys through that a little bit later. And then we kicked off in September with our global launch of Fire licensing, and as we are today. So what are those Fire signature programs and what do they look like? And what is really unique about those? Let me tell you, let me show you, I guess. Let me show you a little bit about it. So the programs themselves, we wanted to build something that we felt that was tried and tested. I can tell you that my partner and I, Dave, we had literally been training in this Fire style of training for ultimately about 10 years before we launched Fire. So this was not just, this was way before boutiques were even popular or had come about. We trained in this similar fashion every day in the gym together. We used to work together for a long period of time. So we knew this training technique and these styles worked. And more than anything, we knew that we could build programs that could nurture new people into the business, but it also could be, we could take it and challenge those people that were super fit. And that's incredibly important in the boutique sector, because ultimately you get people of all different levels of fitness. And that's what's really exciting about Fire. We're not catering, although the pictures may tell you that we have a lot of people in the club, which we do, but we get a lot of people that just don't go to gyms. It's not their thing. So that's what was really interesting to me, that when we started Fire, we had probably, I would say, about 75% of our membership base came from people who literally had never been in a gym before. So when we look at building these programs, it's very important to us to be able to bring new people in, but to challenge those that are also looking for a very challenging fitness experience. So these are our signature programs, and I hope that my line is going to stay stable, because we've got quite a thunderstorm happening out here. And if it does, Nad, you're going to have to jump in for me, but I hope it's all good so far. This is what we deal with in today's day and age when we go live, right, everybody? We have, as you can see, our 6 signature programs. We have Force, we have Ride, we have Revolution, we have Strike, we have BARRE, and we have Stride. Now, many boutique operators really only operate with generally one offering. This is one of the things that makes us fundamentally very different from any operator out there. We are continually evolving. And if you can imagine that each one of these programs has literally 5 to 6 different variations underneath it. And you will find that people can get very bored if they're doing the same thing. And we've done a lot of research within that, spoken to a lot of people that, you know, are going to some of our competitors. So this was one of the things that we wanted to make sure we had knocked it out of the park, that we were continually evolving the programs and making sure that we are keeping our customers intact. Number 1, Revolution. So Revolution is just launched with a bang. So what is Revolution? Obviously, it's a 45-minute high-intensity workout, which is structured around, basically, we have 6 different platform levels that you're going to move towards through. With each one, there's a television screen, a split screen, which allows you to see what the exercise is and follow it. And there'll be an instructor that will take you through those different stations through each time. It's very similar to one of our competitors out there. And we call it a category killer to one of our competitors out there, which is really super and cool about Revolution is anybody can do it. Anybody, and I mean anybody, whether in your 70s or 80s, you could do Revolution. And if you're someone who's very fit, you can do Revolution. So it doesn't take a lot of skill. It's not heavy, hard weights. It's, as I said, a low impact weight, which has a little bit of cardio work behind it. Incredibly exciting workout. Number 2, our second baby that we've just introduced is BARRE. Now, if you're not familiar with BARRE, BARRE is sweeping across Australasia and across the States right now. It is a dance fusion based workout. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, who's going to want to do this? We're basically just holding onto a pole and doing some purees and dancing around. But then I tried it and my whole opinion changed on it. This is one heck of a workout. And ultimately right now, we can't put the classes on fast enough before they're filled. Our challenge is just getting enough trainers in to build this and ultimately get more people involved with it. It is a phenomenal workout. And I think this is in the years to come is going to become one of the most popular workouts in HIIT studios. Stride. Well, this is what we kicked everything off with. And some of you may be familiar with some of the big operators out there like Orange Theory or Barry's Bootcamp or some of those. Ultimately, this is something very similar to that, where you've got treadmills and you've got weights. And so you've got high impact and low impact. This is a great workout for a lot of people that want to get some sprinting in, some treadmill work in, and they want to combine that with weight training. This is the very first thing that we kicked off with and was probably one of our most popular at the time, although a couple of workouts have now eclipsed it. Strike. Anybody out there like to box? We've got that covered too. We have our Fight Club meets Nightclub, and that's exactly what this is. This is a fusion-based striking workout, which has many different versions to it. We have all kinds of styles of trainers. We have some great boxers. We have people who aren't great boxers. But ultimately, the big thing about this workout is when you turn the lights low, it doesn't matter if you're a great boxer or not because nobody can see you and the music takes over and the trainer keeps you moving. And I would say this is probably our second most popular workout right now is the strike workout. Ride. So our ride is probably, that is the third program that we ever developed. Many of you will know this, in indoor cycling classes and so forth. We have our own way of delivering ride. We have a high intensity program. We couple it with yoga. We couple it with HIIT. We couple it with all kinds of different workouts just to give that fire flavor to it and make sure that people have a phenomenal workout coupled in with that HIIT training side. Force. Here's my favorite. This one has no running on treadmills. I'm not a great runner on treadmills, but I love the weight training side and I love to get my weights done well within under an hour. That's what Force is all about. You're cutting body fat, you're getting stronger, and ultimately you're getting fitter as well. This is the workout that is probably the most popular within all our workouts right now. So let's get to some of the business sense of it. What does it mean to start your own fire? Well, we build this whole process, and when we look at each country and when we build what the business model should look like, our goal is to try and find an appetite for you that you can invest in at a point that you can get a very quick ROI. When Nad and I have spoken to many, many franchisees out there who are involved in a lot of different companies, and when we ask them, what is the thing that you thought about most when you got started? What was the thing that troubled you the most? What were you most afraid of? And they said, listen, does the business work ultimately? And how quick can we get our money back? So when we built the business model, we had to make sure that people were getting that ROI in much less than a year and a half. And that was our goal in designing this. And ultimately, that's what's going to come in on these following slides. This is kind of the proof with the pudding. Our licensing is really, really unique in the variety of options that we have. We have really unique CapEx offerings in the fact that we could attack the marketplace in two different ways. We have a very low CapEx offering with something like Revolution, where you don't have to do much to create a studio. On the other hand, we have options that can give you a studio that is absolutely beautiful, like our second firehouse, or Firestation, sorry, and has some look and feel of kind of a New York City nightclub, and makes you feel like you're in a New York City nightclub, but you're doing an amazing workout. So the options are there. You don't have to start out at the high end to get involved with fire. And we wanted to make sure that that those options were there, especially for people who don't have a lot of cash up front. Once again, when we look at the studios, we built studios, and we built opportunities and looked at opportunities that can be as small as 75 meters squared. That's pretty small, all right? Or up to literally 250 meters squared with 3 different studios like we have here. We right now are speaking to somebody in the Middle East who is going to take a 5-studio fire club. So that's incredibly exciting too at the very high end. Nad, I think they're probably a little bit bored of me. I'm going to ask you to kick in here very quickly just to talk a little bit about our technology and ultimately some of the things that we deliver on a training side or on a support side.
Support side, yeah, for sure. So what we did when we built this model is spent an exhaustive amount of time looking at the right types of tools that would both support the operating licensee, but also deliver an amazing experience to your consumers, your customers, your members. So we've done that, hit that at every single level. We built and integrated a training platform that allows us to deliver instructor training remotely, anywhere. It's delivered in what I would term millennial style education, in that I find that my 2 millennials, my 2 kids, have difficulty consuming massive amounts of written material in one go. They seem to be a little sensitive about the amount of learning that they need to do. So we've actually used a platform that delivers small segments of training, both in written word, but also in video. And what we find with that tool is, because of the manner in which it's delivered in the palm of the instructor's hand, is that it's much easier for the instructor to absorb. They retain the information much easier, and it adds to a great experience, both in terms of what they're learning, but what they're passing on to the members as well. We have what I would consider the Rolls Royce of heart rate training interfaces. Our heart rate straps are not chest straps. Most exercisers, and anybody that's familiar with that, frequently complain about both the inconvenience of putting on a chest strap, but also its accuracy. Frequently it will lose contact. So we have a new system that takes a much more accurate reading from a strap that's either placed on the upper arm or on the forearm. We also have a licensee backend portal where a licensee has an individual login code. They get access to a repository of documentation, images, marketing suite, social media posts that they can draw from and use in any of their campaigns. Anything that they should wish to use the logo for, they'll find in that repository. It's an interactive platform that also allows them to ask questions. There's a live chat in there, so we can offer immediate support in any of the domains. We're just moving our business across to a new management system and customer app, which again is the gold standard for our industry. It delivers an end-to-end journey of your customer. So from the moment that they are captured as a lead, right through every stage of their membership and every stage of engagement, there is an integrated messaging tool. There is an AI chatbot that's all integrated into the system, plus a great app that again allows for direct communication between the customer and the studio, for scheduling, for booking, for recording their workouts and collating feedback on their performance for any of the workouts they happen to have done in Fire.
Ah, fantastic, mate. Well done. So I want to push you guys over to probably one of the most important slides for you today. When Nat and I started out at shows and we used to speak to two different groups of people, we would first speak to people who didn't own a franchise or a fitness franchise, and they were a very interested one. On the other hand, we'd speak to people who own them. And when we asked them what was the most important thing to them at that stage in their careers, whether they hadn't owned one or they did own one, it was quite interesting. Initially, the people that didn't have one used to talk a lot about that they wanted a good deal, as we all do. You know, what was the prices? What were the fees? You know, how much does it cost? Which is, you know, something you would probably ask a lot about. The people who are already in franchises would ask us about the support we gave. And you could see that. So I want to get across to you today, the number one thing that we want to deliver at Fire is unparalleled support to you to be successful. I'm going to say this openly. I'm going to steal my partner Nad's line. We are not franchisers who got into fitness. We're fitness guys who are now into licensing fitness. We understand fitness. I've been in the game for 30 years. I've worked in 21 different countries, believe it or not. And I think over 30 years. I think Nad is a little ahead of me in countries, but a very similar time. So there's a lot of experience. We've got the whole Evolution Wellness team. As I said, we are one of the biggest fitness operators in all of Southeast Asia. We're not going away tomorrow. The support that we've built for you guys is better and bigger and stronger than any other operator out there. And I can stake my claim on it because I absolutely have done the research to know that. So we want to make sure that the support you're getting is unparalleled so that you can be successful. That's the most important thing to us. You'll hear it, but we will show it time and time again on the support side. So I'm going to talk to you guys very quickly, and I very quickly talked about it before. What you see in front of you, once again, our signature programs and our concepts, is going to be probably one of the most unique things about Fire that is going to make it very hard for others to compete with us as we continually evolve. I talked to you already about the 6 programs that we have and that we offer. Those 6 programs in 1 year from now will be more. They'll be bigger. They'll be better. We'll add on more. We believe at Fire that people need to be challenged, that they get bored. If they show up every day and they're just doing a ride class, ultimately there's a point in time where that becomes boring. We know that. We've done the research about that. That's why we want to make sure, and we think our unique advantage against all the other boutiques is that we have these different offerings. So you can take 1, you can take 2, you can take 3, you can take 1 studio, you can take 2. Just think what happens down the road if you're operating and you, for example, have a ride class and you have 5 competitors open up around you that also open ride. You have the opportunity to come back to us and say, guys, I want to have another program and redevelop my studio. We'll 100% support you in doing that to make you more competitive so that you're agile. And that's what business is really about today, especially in this boutique sector. You can't deliver the same thing over and over again. Trust me, I know many that are trying to do that and they're in a losing game. So our investments, we've already talked a lot about them, our training tools, our innovation to deliver what we're going to deliver, our support, our brand equity. The one thing I will say is that we are trying to create an amazing value proposition in what we do. And one thing that we found to be really successful in this, if you have a great value proposition, you're going to have great staff. You're going to bring people towards you, because that's what makes this a game changer, is having great staff. And we haven't talked a lot about it today, but we do have, and we've proven many times already, that we can take people that don't have a lot of fitness experience, and turn them into some of the most amazing trainers that you've ever seen. And I think that's incredibly important. And that comes down to your culture, your environment, you know, your compensation, your benefits, and all the things that your business offer. We understand all those aspects to make sure that you're creating a really strong business, because it is important to understand how that melds in to create a great culture and a brand. And we're going to support you in doing that. Matt, I think that's all from my side. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it over to you, buddy.
Thanks, Rich. Well done. Great passion as always. I expect nothing less. Despite your age, you still got the energy, buddy. I'm really impressed. It's great.
Hey, that's because of fire. You know it. You know it. What can I say?
Well, again, thanks for the handoff. I just want to take the group very quickly through our fee structure. I've done a quick comparison on our fees against two other boutique brands, which you'll see in the right-hand column. Please don't ask me who they are. I very rarely share. Boutique B is F45 and Boutique A is Orange Theory. Our fees are structured in a very, very clear, but also somewhat of a flexible way. As Rich has said, we are also completely transparent in everything that we do, everything. When you come into the fire licensing, or even GoFit licensing for that matter, you are entering our family. We are 176 operating clubs right now, and any of these units is seen as an extension of our own business. We are very passionate, but also very protective of our brands, and make sure that we are selective, therefore, in choosing the right partners. So the fees are structured in a manner that we don't hide anything. And frequently, what you'll see here, which I'll take you through line by line very quickly, many of the fees that are here are actually from third parties. So they are our preferred vendors in how we support and operate the model, and we're actually passing on those fees as opposed to making money from somebody else's provision, or from hiding and these fees not being clear. So an individual license fee currently sits at, our rate card is 40,000 US. That covers one type of studio. So what that means is, should you be interested in opening a stride studio, that would cost you $40,000 in your licensing fee. However, as Rich mentioned, with one of our partners in the Middle East, he's opening 5 different concepts under one roof. So he pays 40 for the first, and each of the other 4 carries an additional fee of 5, because there are some other complexities around those different studio types that will be built for him, both in terms of design, in terms of training, and ongoing support. That's why that is there. Our royalty fee is 5% of gross, again, competitive against our other players in this space. The processing and credit card fee of 5% is actually only relevant in those markets where we are requested to perform all of the collections. So that's taking all of the membership dues and processing all of the payments. Now, in markets outside of our existing 6 operating markets, we frequently do not offer that service. So that's a cost that comes out of this rate card completely. And for India, that would be the same. Our advertising and brand fund is a fixed amount per month. That's a contribution to the global brand building and our global marketing activities, much of which is digital. We do not determine a minimum amount of spend for local advertising. We feel that would be unfair to do, so we leave that with the licensee in terms of what they would determine is the necessary marketing spend in order to support and promote their business. We do not charge a software and technology fee. Our app fee, third party, so this is a cost that we pass on. Remember, this is the gold standard experience. For those of you that think, okay, that's a little pricey, it is an amazing app experience for the fitness enthusiast. We don't charge a website fee. Every licensee gets their own page. We make no charge for that. We have no music licensing fee. Our instructors create playlists in Spotify and frequently will share those playlists for other instructors to utilize. We charge nothing for that at all. However, please note that frequently there will be a public performance license that's required by a business in any country that's paid to your local authority in order to give you the rights to use music in your business. That is something that is up to the individual licensee to cover. It's nothing to do with us. It's about what your local governing body's fees and requirements are. Software license fee, again, third-party cost that we pass on. The delivery platform license fee is partly belongs to us. It's our IP. So it's how we support your business, and those really cool video libraries that Rich referenced earlier, that's what that is. To give you a little bit more detail on how that works, it is a little bit like Spotify or iTunes in that you would open up this system and you see every conceivable exercise in that library. You can then drag and drop those exercises into your workout and create your own workout plan that you deliver to your customers. Very cool. First time that that's actually been developed and made available within our industry. Programs fee is basically a training fee and new programming for each of the disciplines that we deliver every month. As a comparison, if you took something like Les Mills will deliver you new programming every 3 months. Us, we deliver new programming for each discipline, strike, stride, ride, every month. That's what that fee is for. And the HR software is not human resources, it's heart rate. So the heart rate software is the software that's required to broadcast your members' heart rate performance to a large screen in the studio. The coolest thing about the software that we use for that purpose is that it is completely up to the end user as to whether they wish to participate. It's not mandatory at all. They can decide whether they want to have their results broadcast or not, but they could still have them collated and delivered to themselves within the app. The other cool thing about this is that it works on Ant Plus technology, which means if you have a Garmin heart rate monitor or an Apple Watch, you can use those devices instead of using the strap that we recommend for those that don't have those two devices. So again, full flexibility for both the licensee and the end user. And that's it for our fees. I think that with the guys, our support in India, we have a number of very interesting offers to first movers in this space, and can be very flexible on what those entry offers look like for those that have the foresight to see the opportunity that we have here and the future of the industry. And that's me.
Thank you very much. Great presentation, and we can see the energy and the enthusiasm you have for the business, and it obviously comes with your experience and running a business in multiple markets, especially developing markets in Asia, which is very similar to what we have in India. So that's why even at Fran Global, we really appreciate your experience more than a lot of other companies which really come from sometimes US or Europe, which probably have a very different experience and different audience altogether versus what you have. So I think it's a much greater opportunity. So I'll take few questions. It's a license opportunity where you're doing different programs, and we saw each program is very well developed and it's also have a lot of proprietary value, which you then license to that. And so my first question really starts with really about India. You know, how do you really want to address India? You would go from an individual license viewpoint, or you have looking to somebody to really take a larger territory to then further develop and set up maybe a prototype first and then further license it to do
right.
that. So that's
right.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's exactly right. I mean, yeah, as I said earlier, we really approach the growth of our brands in the same way as we would as if it were corporate growth. So we're not looking to make a quick buck. We're looking to ensure that the licensee is successful. And what we've done in markets that we have entered with a licensee, if you take the Middle East as a prime example, the agreements that we have in place allow the individual to start with one studio. And in fact, we've just done a similar deal in Vietnam with our budget brand. Start with one gym. experience it, get comfortable with us, get comfortable with the support, make sure you're happy with how the brand operates. There may be an opportunity to customize the business model a little bit more for those market needs in order to guarantee a better success and a better revenue model. We're happy to do that. It's what we do within our own businesses. I'll give you a case in point. Fitness First in Malaysia is a different experience to Fitness First in Singapore. You know, whilst it's still a premium experience in Malaysia, in Singapore, we provide the members with workout kits every time they come into exercise. That's not a service that we extend in Malaysia, probably because of the fear that we would see most Malaysian members walking around in the streets with the workout kit and not returning it at the end of the workout, which will be fine for brand exposure, but not great for our cost line. So yes, but our advice is take one, experience it. Let's date first. Yeah, let's date first before we commit to the marriage. See how it goes, tweak it as we need to tweak it, make sure everybody's happy, and then let's take on the whole country and rock and roll.
Yeah, very useful. And I think that's a great opportunity for some of our investors who are listening today. If you are somebody who's enthusiastic, somebody who really believes in the fitness industry, really want to partner, it will be a great opportunity to really join in and run a pilot, set the business model right, and then there would be much bigger opportunity to expand a market like India, which is one of the lowest penetration, per capita penetration from a club's viewpoint. If you really look at other markets, even look at Asia, which is, I'm not even comparing Europe and US. If you look at Asia also, India would be one of the lowest penetrated market, but youngest market, a very large opportunity, hugely, open for about 100 plus cities in India. Other opportunity can go into much deeper cities, but top 100 cities in India has a huge opportunity available. And also the programs which we saw are not really available. And some of the companies are doing it. Some of the leading players started these, but they are not specialized on that. And they're very conventional box gyms, which are getting a little bit fatigued, and people want freshness. People want different programs, and that keeps them going. And so let's start with a little bit of a membership understanding. What is a membership fee you would charge in different markets, and how do you see India? I mean, India would be very closer to what Malaysia would be, or Indonesia would be from a market, or Philippines would be. So not so much of Singapore, but what would be a membership a fee which you would see for a market like say India?
I think it is very flexible, but ultimately, because you're sitting in the high end sector, it is a boutique offering and a very high end service offering. So in Australia, for example, you're looking at about $50 a week, so $200 a month. Here in Malaysia, we're at about, sorry, I'll use US dollars if that's all right, everybody. Actually, so we're at about 75 to 80 US dollars for the month. All right. I suspect, Venus, and I think we've done some numbers, and you guys can correct me on some of the models, but I think we're roughly around there. And I think what we will do is we'll have a flexible scheme depending on if you're in the city and your rents are much higher than when you're potentially out in some of the country suburbs. We have a flexible membership type and structure, which allows for that rent model to be flexible within that. So that's around the price points. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, Venus, on where we are modeling that price point at.
That's correct. We did some competitive modeling as well, and that's the bandwidth we are projecting.
I would still say in some markets it would be starting from 50 USD to about in some mature market like Bombay and Delhi would be very, very clearly to what you have in KL, about 75 USD. But in smaller markets, maybe it is an opportunity of a 50 USD kind of thing, because India is a fairly large market and cities would be very different in terms of their demographics.
Absolutely.
So now the next question I have is on the license part of it. So what is the term of the license? And you mentioned that there is a 40,000 USD as a fixed license, and then you added also 5,000, which is to customize some programs on that. So you want to really elaborate on that, the term of the license period, and also a little bit on what kind of customization happened on the 5,000 USD.
Sure.
So the term is 5 + 5 + 5. And the 40,000 fee is your initial licensing fee. Yeah. So I give you a scenario. If somebody in Delhi wanted to open a stride studio on its own, that would be a $40,000 license fee. If in Mumbai, somebody wanted to open a fire studio that had 3 different concepts under one roof, so they had stride, they had strike, which is the boxing studio, and they had revolution. So 40,000 would cover the first studio type, and then each other carries a 5,000 fee only. So the total there is $50,000. Now, of course, we do a little bit of negotiating. It's not quite the fruit stall type negotiating. But sometimes we do a bit of a buy 2 get 1 free kind of thing, right? And certainly we have a number of incentives for the first 10 individuals or companies that would like to take up a license. We're doing some very, very aggressive deals. You know, we're keen to get the business started, some traction in India. We feel that there's great market opportunity there, and that we can bring a lot to the table. We understand the Indian market a little, but we also have the ability to customize market dependent. As Rich mentioned earlier, I think between us, we've covered the entire planet in terms of continents where we've worked. Although I don't look old enough to have done so, I've aged a lot better than Rich has, but it is true. So those are our fee structures. As I say, they're kind of headline numbers. The rate card, happy to negotiate for those 10 people that are first movers.
Sure, that's very, very helpful. And I'll take one more question and then I'll pass it on to. Yeah, please go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, guys, I think that's important too. Just with our fee structures, we understand that if they're for the first movers, we are flexible on that upfront fee, which you see is a 40,000 US. We're negotiable on that. We'd love to see somebody take those opportunities, and if you are going to be the first mover, in fact, I think we've written down in our budget structure is 3. The first 3 people that do want to do that will have some incredibly good opportunities for them. Sorry.
Yeah, it always helps in terms of somebody who moves first and they get the benefit of that, because you're joining in, you're kind of a, so to say, co-founder for India business, and the company comes and gives you the maximum support to really make that happen, because that would actually link the future of the business and the brand in the market. So it's always an advantage to be the first mover. So if some of you are really keen, go out and reach out to us or Venus. We will be happy to take your discussions ahead. So I'll take one more question and then pass it on to Sonia. And Sonia, if you can just go through the questions also coming in the chat box, and Venus, you can also list up your questions so we can really take some question quickly. My question is really, what is the advisable for, and you have now a lot of experience, if somebody really starts, and we will have 2 types of people who would reach us. One would be people who are already in the fitness and they would like to maybe convert, and they would like to add some programs and build that. And that is a big demand now, because a lot of people are running these conventional independent clubs, and they want to really add something. So is that one a great option? Do you advise that? Second is that people who start an independent greenfield, a new a fire studio, if they start that, then what kind of how many programs you would normally recommend they should really start with? That's how, what kind of a mix they would really like to see, and which you would see from your experience in let's take it from a KL point, what kind of a good mix they can really start from, and also to address the mix of a gender mix, what are women preferring, what are men preferring, and how can you really create a right kind of a mix from offering basket viewpoint.
Let me answer the first part and maybe the second, and Nad can jump in as well, because I see his elbows coming forward. He wants to answer this as well. So if I've got it right, is just what does the investor look like initially? And I think, that's the beauty of fire. I would highly recommend Fire, that you be a hands-on operator. You don't have to be, but I think you should be. If you're not a hands-on operator and you're looking at this as investment into your portfolio of franchises, you need to have an outstanding operator below you that you can trust. And ultimately, because this is a very high-end touch point business where staffing training matters, right? To be able to charge that per visit. So I think that's important. Why I talk about that is that this is also perfect for the trainer who's been in the business for a very long time and ultimately wants to start off and own his own fitness business. Fire is perfect for that opportunity for those people as well, because it allows you to have a very low staffing model in the way that you can cover your classes and the way that you can be involved. How to kick off and structure the classes and which ones to choose. I would say, guys, it can sound complicating, but we have, as I said, we have 6 different classes that we're offering, or programs. So you could take, for example, a great start would be Revolution and Force. Those would be a fantastic way to kick off because you've got 2 very unique and different workouts. If you have a class like Ride where you have the bikes, you can put Force in there, but you'd have to be moving the bikes around. We have options too, where you could have Force and you could have Strike. All right, so Strike is the boxing class. Force is the low impact weight training class. All you would have to do is, we've got opportunities in our builds where we have the bags on swivels and they can move in and out. You know what it really comes down to, everybody, is what, first of all, what you out of those classes, and we can go into detail whether it's BARRE. What is the, and I was going to jump in here before with this, what is the opportunity that you see in the place that you would like to do this? This is really key, right? Because we have, any one of our classes is going to be successful, but what is the competition around you? What can you slot in a very highly competitive fitness market, or it's not, and be successful? I think that's really important when you look at what we're offering, because it can become confusing if you think about what couples and what goes with what. And this is some of the process that we'll take you through. We'll look at your competitors around. What are the opportunities? What is the space available? What are you passionate about and that you look at that you'd like to teach or not? And then we'll put it together for you and find out what's going to be most successful for you. I hope that answers your question.
I think I'll add there, if
Absolutely,
I may,
absolutely.
I would not recommend putting a Fire into the middle of an existing gym, into a fitness club. It will lose its edge, its passion, its presence.
Yeah.
I have known of operators that have done a similar thing in the past, and those that have put these types of high touch point studios in their existing gym business have not done well with it. That being said, those that have been able to put the studio in a corner spot of the gym that allows access from outside, so not just an interior access, that tends to work. That is a lot better than having something that's embedded in an existing facility. Never something that I would advocate. I would totally steer away from that type of approach. Somebody who wants to convert an existing studio from a current brand into Fire, it's a very simple process, easily done. We talk to a number of partners who are in the market for doing exactly the same thing. Greenfield sites, definitely the preferred option for me. Particularly in new demographics, because you really can land with a bang and do some really cool guerrilla marketing that gets that brand presence and brand awareness up very, very quickly. It's super exciting to do it that way around.
Sure. That's very, very helpful. Sonia, quickly to you for your questions, and Venus, if you can also pick up your questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Nad and Rich. I think the entire presentation was very, very powerful, including the passion and the enthusiasm, I would say, that you've added while presenting it. I'll have one question which I'll pick, and this is based on one of the questions that rather you recently answered a while back. This is on the various programs, and as and when maybe a franchise partner or license partner adds another program, he pays additional fee. Now, what would your recommendation be for I would say an appropriate program to be run, So with the combination of 6 programs that we see are there in the entire business, what your advice would be to a prospective partner to launch with? Is it good for him to start only with one, maybe recover, understand the market, and then launch the second and third? Or would be great only to start with 2 first? And how does one, make that intelligence of what to start with and what to go after maybe the first or the second program?
Yeah, no, I think, in my last answer, I don't want to repeat it all, but I think the one thing I would say is just define where your competitors are. Now, if you're new in the market, then it's greenfield. We can decide, and ultimately, I'm going to be needing that intel back from whoever this potential partner would be. What they see the opportunities. Is it ride? Is it strike, our boxing opportunity? Is it a weights low impact, right? So some of these go together. Do they want to do one studio? Do they want to do 2? What's their appetite? I think, when we put all those pieces together, what's your passion? What would you love to do, right? Because that's really, really, really important in this thing. When we put all those things together, we can then determine what are going to be the right classes for you. I would highly suggest, one, depending on if you can get the right rent, 2 studios. Ultimately, that works best. And we have different options in the ways to design. We give you all the design works, what it should look like from A to Z. And so it's not hard to make sure the designs are unique and powerful and work within whatever space you've got. So I would say that I really, really do think it comes down to, once again, repeat myself, competition around the space. Where do you see the opportunity? And then what's the passion? What's the one you're most passionate about teaching and taking? And I think I'll throw in there too, I said before, guys, if you get a competitor who sees what you're doing and opens up around you with the same offering, we can, we might have to spend a little CapEx to redesign, but it wouldn't be a lot to put another program in there and come at it at a different angle. That is going to be unique for Fire. No one else does that right now in the boutique sector. Nobody. And that's why we're going to stay ahead of this game. Yeah.
Very helpful. Another question which I'll pick from one of our audiences, Mr. Ajay Bhardwaj from India. He's in fact, if we can talk, while I understand we can't give a demo, he's asking if there's a way that they can even see a demo of the app that we have. And because he says I need to understand the kind of features which the app provides, and maybe the interface the app has for all the community or the stakeholders it reaches out to. So is that something that we can do? While we can't do it now, but is that something we can do one-to-one with people who might be interested to
Sure.
consider?
Yeah, we can put something together. I will. Whilst it may not be a live walkthrough, because you have to remember at the moment, as I mentioned earlier, we're migrating our business across to the new platform, but I can certainly get details to share with anybody that has that interest in terms of exactly how it works, what the touch points are, how the lead management system works, how the customer engagement portion of it works. All of that stuff, happy to share. I couldn't do it in a live environment right now, as we are not migrating our business across to the new platform until June 1st.
All
And
right.
I think that's important because we'll have a different app as well, right, Nad? And the
I know,
app,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It will be the new one that's coming. All of those feature sets, everything. If you look at what we have right now, it's not accurate because we're migrating the entire thing June 1st.
Yeah, so I think just hold on, guys, because we want to show you what we're doing, not where we are today with our app, because what's coming down the pipeline, and I mean, we didn't know how much time we get to share with you today, is we're really, really lucky is because the CRM that we're going to be using is taken, we have a great relationship with them, actually it's NAD, so we're going to be trialing their whole new front-end sales retention system. with Fire over the next 3 months. We are so excited because it encompasses the whole beginning to end membership journey. Believe it or not, in the fitness industry, there's nobody out there right now that has a CRM that tracks you from the time you register your lead to the time that the member leaves. Now, it is incredibly powerful because every single contact, emailer, text, and everything, you want to have that record when they train, when they haven't trained, what they've purchased. You're going to have all that intel right under your fingers, which is going to help you make much more powerful decisions and make sure that you keep your retention where it needs to be successful in this business.
Sure. Very helpful, Nad and Rich. And Venus, can I request you to take up any questions that you wish to?
Sure, I think you have taken the questions. I think the couple of people requesting what does the setup cost look like, and if I and there is actually consciously we have not shared the India sort of financial numbers because as part of their sort of core DNA between Nad and Rich, they would and they are cognizant of the fact that anybody who would invest in the project would be looking for a decent return on investment and so they've consciously not shared the exact detailed numbers, but we have them. So if you want to know more about the exact setup cost, please just reach out to us. We will sign an NDA and then we should be able to share some outline on what the project cost would look like. Nad, Rich, correct?
Yep. Venus,
absolutely right. We have a very strong back-end tool. We're happy to take any data for any scenario in your marketplace, and we will populate a high-level business plan to share with those that are interested in terms of what their expectations should be with regards to performance and what they could do in terms of ROI. Now, that's all based on local data, local touch points. So everything is customized to specific needs. It would be remiss of us to throw out a number because it's not relevant to a particular market, right? There are so many variable costs. What we do assure everyone without question and without challenge, we will provide the best prices for your equipment in the industry, bar none. And we are so confident of that what we do is we provide the licensee with the contact to the vendor, and that relationship for purchasing is direct. It does not come through us. Your relationship is with the vendor. We just assure you of the best possible price in the industry, and happy for people to shop around and compare, but please compare apples to apples.
Absolutely. And I think if I can add there, what's unique with Fire Fitness is as part of the strategy, Rich and Nad and us as well, unlike many other brands which we represent, and of course we are proud of it, because it is a premium offering, because it is a niche offering, Rich and Nad are very keen to work, even if you want to open the first Fire Fitness, only one, without any future commitment, we can. The table is open. So what's important is, of course, who you are, where you're coming from, where you want to set this up. I think that's very important. The location will be very important to this equation. So even if you want to open one location of Fire Fitness, the table is open, and the next step should be that we have a discussion, and then we sign an NDAs, and of course we do a call like this between Rich, Nad, and myself. So we look forward for that. Rich and Nad, I have one question, and which was kind of addressed, so we are, of course, as the business gets going, in your experience, especially like let's benchmark a market like Malaysia, what is the typical number of memberships a studio needs to have, just on an average, to be able to, let's say, consider a decent break even and maybe going on from there? And of course, Gaurav asked this question, I also have it. Like a typical gym would have a 75-25 or 70-30 split between men and women. In your studio, what's that ratio? Because of course, that also decides a lot about where this format would be.
Okay, well, I mean, Rich will give you actual numbers. The only thing I will tell you as I hand over to Rich to share with you some numbers is that his boxing class in particular is an 80-20 split, but it's largely female. I have no idea why.
Very, very impressive. I would sign on.
Yeah, we do. That's pretty accurate, you know. The old guy still got it, eh, Nat? The old guy still got it. Thanks, mate. It's a good question, Venus. First of all, thanks for that. It's a very good question. So, you know, what you saw, let's just go back a little bit in time to talk about boutique. When boutique kicked off, it was literally 95% women. And, you know, it's no surprise, right? Because women want to train and use weights and exercise, but let's be fair, let's be honest. Going into gyms, most times, it's not women friendly. It's not a good experience for them. They're not enjoying it. And it just wasn't what they wanted. And this is why boutiques really kicked off. So, you know, when we opened in Malaysia, we had the same kind of demographics. We had a very strong ladies and women. I think it was almost 90%. But in the last 4 years, that number is now dropping. And I would say it's literally about 65-70% women to men. And that will continue to flare out. Sure. Why is that? Because people realize that they can get an amazing workout in a short amount of time. They don't have to hate going to the gym anymore. And we're literally catching fire. All right. So I think that's what you'll find predominantly, because a lot of guys think, oh, you know, well, that's not for me. I can't gain muscle and get fit, which is actually the absolute opposite. So our workouts are all developed in ensuring they do that. We have, I think right now we have 320 members at our first club. It's 100 square meters. So that just gives you some insights. Before we sold, I'll throw you some numbers, you know, because I know you've all been very good on here and been waiting for a long time. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Ebitda Margins. We're not allowed to share those current figures with the business today, but I can tell you before we sold the business to Evolution Wellness, the whole year for that, we had nothing less than 38% EBITDA margins. And our highest was about 52%. So those are real numbers that gave us the opportunity, obviously, to make the sale and show that the business model works. And it was around those membership numbers. And it was just then us, you know, finding what was the right pay for the trainers, and every country is different, and that modeling. And we've gone through all those pain to understand what is going to work best in those different countries. So I hope that answers your question, Venus.
It does. Thank you so much, Rich, and Nad as well. This was a great discussion, and I know we are top of the hour, so I will hand it back to Sonia.
Thank you so much, Venus, and I'd like to again thank Nad and Rich for being with us for the last almost an hour and a half nearly. And before we close, Rich and Nad, you know, while we have spoken at length about the business and the opportunity, maybe a message from you and maybe last word that you want to share with everybody who's listening both live and on the platform.
So for me, it would be, you know, guys, we are absolutely here to help. I hope you can tell, we're passionate about what we do. We're passionate about our industry. We love the brand. We believe that we operate in the two largest growth opportunities in our industry, which is the high-end boutique model FIRE and the budget end GoFit. So we are, you know, we're here to help. We're here to support. We've both been business owners ourselves. We've both, you know, done a number of roles across the industry. There are not many questions that we're not able to help with. I can't think of any off the top of my head. We're happy to go to whatever lengths are necessary to ensure that your business is successful, because it's a reflection of our own brand. Even if that means us coming over to see you when we are able to, we're more than happy to do that and come and support. I just like some jalebis with my morning tea. So that would be my only request when I do that. And that's it for me. Thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Rich?
Thanks, mate. I would say to this, everybody out there, I'd say go and do your research. I always try to think, I've tried my best to think about what's not popular today if I'm owning my own business. well, what's popular tomorrow and what's going to be popular in a year's time from now? And if we've done our work around India, and the opportunity in the fitness sector right now is as big as anything I've ever seen, just because there's not a lot there. And it's coming. It's coming. So you'll either get on board with that or you won't. But do your work, look at the opportunity. So where would you do that work? And especially with COVID, because it's very tough to understand what is right and what's wrong. Here's two markets for you to look into, Australia and New Zealand, because they're open. Look at what's happening there. The fitness boom has gone through the roof because everyone is now understanding that we have to start to look after ourselves. If it's not COVID, it's going to be something else, and we have to be prepared. We have to look after ourselves, not just being fit, physically fit, but being mentally fit and having an overall fitness. And the fitness part of it that we do is a massive part of it. So I think that the opportunity there in fitness is going to be tremendous. It's just, finding the sector that works for you, finding the business that you think is going to work for you. I think that we are that one. And I'm like Nat, I couldn't wait to come over. I love a good curry, and I love a hot curry, believe it or not. I can eat spicy hot. I can do it.
You live in Malaysia, so I think I believe
I'm
it.
ready.
Thank you, Rich and Ad. Thank you very much to be part of our webinar today. We really appreciate, and we see a good interest. And we'll come back to you with qualified people who have a genuine interest to partner with you and to also launch FIRE in India. And Venus and team would really lead the discussion to qualify, and then probably set up a time with you to have a joint discussion. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
God
everybody.
bless.
Stay safe out there.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe out there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So thank you so much, Rich. Thank you so much, Nat, for joining in today. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, and Venus for joining us today. We would like to thank our dear participants for joining us today. Please do reach out to us at our business hotline number, which is 97176-83838. That's the number. I'll just share my screen for you. That's the number which you can reach out to, so that you can share your suggestions, feedback with us. We are also available at different social handles, information on your screen. Do share your suggestions and feedback. Also join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their respective LinkedIn IDs, information on your screen. And we invite you today for our Bombay chapter, 30 days, 30 cities. These are the various shows which we are doing at 7 p.m. so that you can join us to understand 5 top brands opportunities for your cities. So please do registration today at same business hotline number to join us for Bombay chapter 7 p.m. and tomorrow under business opportunity with Chai 12 p.m. webinar show, we invite you to join us for Gully Mart. That's India's largest franchise chain of mini supermarket. The team would come and talk about how they have expanded their business with 40 stores in Bangalore and nearby cities. So please do registration for our 7 p.m. Bombay chapter and tomorrow 12 p.m. business opportunity over Chai webinar series. Thank you so much once again for joining in today. Have a safe day. Please take very good care of your health. Thank you so much.